and bounce through it, come through it. So I want you to listen to his story and let it encourage you that this is there's a real face on this today. This is not just a political problem. This is a personal problem.
Thank you. My name is Lindsay Allen. I am a case manager at the Homeless Services Center. I work with the HUD bonus program. And I just moved over there from the 180-2020 program, which was an initiative we started 5 years ago to house 180 of the most chronic and most vulnerable homeless people in Santa Cruz County by the year 20, I believe it was 2014. That initiative has been going on for 5 years now, and we have just finished housing 598 people. So we're about 2 away from 600. My very first experience with services at the Homeless Services Center was actually as a client. It was just over 6 years ago. Actually, me and my wife, we ran into some financial difficulties and lost our apartment. We were living in Tracy, and we came down. There was an opportunity for us to stay in Salinas for a while, and we came down and did that, and the opportunity was short-lived, and we had nowhere to go. We had 4 kids, and we were staying in our truck a lot, trying to get money for hotels, trying to find work to pay for hotels, which got expensive really quickly. We ended up getting signed up at the Rebley Family Shelter at the Homeless Services Center. While we were there, we put in a lot of work, looked for jobs, looked for housing. During our time that we were homeless, it's extremely difficult. Everywhere you go, there's oppression. People look down on you. You're undignified, not wanted anywhere, stores, parks. And you end up kind of believing those things about yourself, that you're undignified and you're worthless. And so it really took an emotional toll on us, especially as parents, trying to keep our kids fed and healthy and sheltered. And when we arrived at the Rebley Family Shelter, we finally had somebody treat us like humans again. It was quite a unique experience. And so, once we started getting our dignity back and started feeling emotionally well again, we were able to start working on some of the things, some of the barriers that we had in front of us. So it was 6 years ago tomorrow on my son's birthday that we moved out and found our own place. And it was right near the boardwalk. And the day that we left, just the good experience that I had at the Homeless Services Center, I knew I wanted to go back and work there. And so I started attending school for human services and immediately started volunteering back at the homeless shelter. I was volunteering for a few months and I got offered a position there as an overnight campus supervisor, where I would watch over the Rebley Family Shelter where I was staying a year or two before, and hang out with the families, walk through the stuff that they have to go through together. I would be up at all night long, and so at 2-3 o'clock in the morning when tragedy struck or babies are being born, I had the privilege of being able to walk people through those things. I moved on to case management, 180-2020 initiative, where we try and house some of the most vulnerable people in Santa Cruz. Since then, I've had an opportunity to not only be helped out myself and with my family through there, but also many other families for so many different reasons. I've worked with a lot of people who probably made more money than I'll ever make, and got hit with one medical problem or lost a job, couldn't afford their mortgage, and lost everything. And to be able to walk through people or with people through those things really is an honor. A lot of people that are familiar with what we do there know that we help people get housed. They know that we help people with resources for food and mental health and drug addiction, whatever barriers people might be going through. But I still think that some of the best work that we do there is to stop and listen to people and see them and let them know that they are seen as people. A lot of my coworkers have told me about times when clients have come up to us and said, you know, you saved my life that day. And it was never because we found them a place to stay or we found them some resource that would feed them for that day. It was always because they stopped and sat and talked with them and saw them as people and saw them as dignified and as human beings that were worthy of respect and love. And that's what I like to think that we do down there the most. We have a great group of people that give themselves emotionally and mentally every day in some of the hardest situations you can imagine with hundreds of people every day. And that's pretty much kind of what I wanted to share here was I do have an experience, and it was difficult and it was empowering to come through, and that there's still a lot of other people out there experiencing that. Not just the stereotypical homeless person who is messed up on drugs or has mental problems. That is an issue, but people who've worked hard their whole lives and ran into one small bump in the road that really knocked them completely off track. And I believe it's our job as a community to support the other people in our community that are struggling. And so I'm just super grateful that everybody came out here today. Not only am I an employee at the Homeless Services Center, but I'm also a brand new mandolin player. So it's kind of been a thing, yes. So yeah, I just wanted to guys encourage you. We have a booth over here. If you guys want some more information about what we do and some of the other services that are provided, not only in Santa Cruz, but throughout the valley. Just talking with John today, he was telling me about I believe he said 18 families throughout the valley that aren't homeless, but that are struggling. And they go down and meet needs with them as well. And so whether it's homeless people or just your neighbors who are struggling, there's an opportunity to help those people. And you are helping them by being here today and by supporting that. So thank you guys.